Slowing down to speed up, pressing pause, taking a breath, taking stock of things, reevaluating, whatever you call it. I have a question for you. Is it a practice that you have in your design firm, in your business? And if not, or if it's only in the last couple of days of the year, as I suspect most folks take that on, year-end planning and all, are there benefits to that? That's what I want to talk about this week. Stay tuned. Giving architects and landscape architects the tools and strategies to be seen, heard, and valued in the marketplace, and telling the stories of leaders building thriving design firms and attracting their ideal clients. This is From Architecture to Profitecture. I'm your host, Jay Krakowski. Let's get started. Fellow and future Profitex, hello. How are you? Welcome to this week's show. We're talking about slowing down to speed up. Essentially pressing pause on parts of your business, maybe the whole business in some cases, but certainly on parts of your business and certainly as it relates to marketing. Whether you join me live weekly or not, or simply listen to the podcast, you'll notice it's been about a month since I released an episode, since I recorded anything, since I've really posted on social, anything like that. I felt that it was time to take a step back and really see what was working and not working in my business and in this growing platform of Profitecture by Design. So that really kind of begged the question as I got excited to get back on the microphone here is, how many of us are on autopilot, are working on autopilot day in, day out, week in, week out? And this isn't just about running a design firm. This is pervasive in all areas of life, in your fitness, in food and health, in the routines with your kids or your pets, if you have either of those. I have both. They pull at, they ask for things at all hours of the day, much like some of our clients, right? So in taking this last month to put a pause on the podcast and on different aspects of social media, I think I may have had 2 Instagram stories in the last month. And this is not a novel thing. Actually, lots of colleagues in the space, in architecture and design space, have publicized this. That hey, I'm taking 6 weeks off. I'm taking 8 weeks off. I'm shutting down Facebook groups. All kinds of things. Looking at simplifying. Looking at what's really important. What's moving the needle, as they say. Whether that's in business or in life. I certainly want to focus on the business and marketing side of things in this show. So, pressing pause, and how often is that something you do? Really ask yourself that question. Again, is it only in the last couple days of the year? Is that a quarterly thing? Or is it just when it feels like things are coming off the rails, where you need to stop everything, you need to blow up your social media, blow up your business to kind of reorient yourself? Hopefully it doesn't get to that point. And that's why I think the power in the pause is such an important thing to think about when you're talking about your annual planning goals, when you're talking about your quarterly reviews or your quarterly planning for your P&L or just your marketing in general, when you're looking at engagement or you're looking at leads and ROI and all that good stuff. So a couple takeaways of mine that I want to share from the last month. The biggest one was probably going through something of a values exercise. What's really important to me for 2021? It's something that I started to touch on in my annual planning at the end of last year, but really didn't take the time to distill it down to my core values and what I want to be putting out there in the world. Not just number of shows, not just number of clients, design clients under contract, but really what's at the root of all this, and how can I act and be on a weekly basis, yes, on this show, but also in business and also with my family, so that 2021 is a success. And what I was able to distill that down to was actually the values of integrity, connection, and well-being. Well, how does this relate to this show? For one, first off, I've been pretty much in integrity and in making this a weekly event. And I like that. I like connecting with you through this little piece of glass and this microphone here, and from the notes I received in DMs and emails and all that good stuff. But what I think has been missing as compared to the intro to the show is that connection piece. Approximately 90% of the shows have been just me sitting on a mic. So my goal for 2021 is to foster that sense of connection and bring more guests on the show. That's an action step for me, is yes, more guests. And if you're listening and I've reached out to you in the past but haven't connected to set a date, stay tuned. That's coming. Where the area of connection is so important. Hey Keith, thanks for watching live. These are kind of the three core tenets that I really want to dig into for the coming year. In terms of well-being, the last month or so, I've started a whole new exercise routine. I'm kickboxing now. Look out, folks. Trying to get a little leaner. I'm spending a little too much time in this chair, as it were. And if I'm not taking care of myself, how can I serve my family? How can I serve all of you if I'm not feeling my best? So, and in scheduling those connections and in scheduling this new routine of well-being, and that stems into food and sleep, which I have been notoriously bad about getting enough sleep. I blame design school, right? Not that I'm pulling any all-nighters by any means, but these are three things that I am kind of setting a commitment to, and that's been probably the biggest piece of clarity in shutting down social media for the most part. I still consume a bit, but not producing the show for 4 weeks here, and I'm able to see where are the voids, what am I actually spending my time with. The other takeaway, which kind of is a good segue, is doing something of a time audit. I was able to do that because I wasn't planning the show. I wasn't focused on putting social media out there. Really look at how am I spending my days, and is the best use of my time in order to achieve these goals of integrity to my clients, integrity to my family, and then connecting with more and more humans like you every week. So there's nothing too shocking or surprising, but there's certainly areas where I could tighten things up, where I could schedule in work versus other when they were starting to blend together, as it happens when you're working out of the house. Whether that's been a change for some of you in the last year or not, I've always worked out of my house, so I've always run the risk of of that overlap when I can flip-flop client work with going to the gym, and then the next day vice versa, and sometimes it's not as efficient as it could be. So that was an interesting takeaway from this little pause that I came back with. So moving forward, I'm looking to have more guests, and probably another big takeaway in looking at that time audit was how much I am spending doing the work. If you follow my last episode and the 6 Ds, the value that our businesses bring to the world is primarily the doing. It's the delivery of product, service, widget, consulting, whatever the heck it is. But as the owner of your business, as the CEO of your business, you should not be doing all the doing. And in the last few weeks, I have actually hired some help. Goodness, it took me a long time to get over that hurdle and wanting to do everything myself. The idea of that I need to let go in order for my business to grow. I have to. And I think many of us, many design firm owners, they get to that point where they can run the show by themselves for a year, 3 years, 5 years, maybe a small team for a couple of years, and then you plateau. And that's not just in revenue, that's in client load, that's in satisfaction with the work that you're doing, and where it's time to let some of these tasks go. Some of these, you need to let go of the fact that you can't do it all by yourself, or you can't just pile more and more on your small team. You need to bring in other people, Maybe that's employees, maybe that's contractors, as it is in my case. Maybe you need to bring in a specialist for a certain thing that you're okay at doing, or even you're good at doing, but it's taking up so much of your time and it's not actually moving the business forward. So the notion of letting go is a big piece. It was a big clarity point that I hit in this brief hiatus from the podcast and social media and all that. So that's been big. I want to leave you with a couple prompts. This is going to be a shorty as I get the engines revving again on the show here. A couple prompts if you haven't and can take the time to shut a few things down, maybe stay off social media for eight hours or a day, heaven forbid. Ask yourself about your business. Where will I be in 6, 12, 36 months if nothing changes? I asked myself that question, and it wasn't a fun answer to look at, to be honest with you. I had been feeling for a while that I was plateauing in my business. Should have hired a long time ago, to be honest with you. But maybe it's not about hiring for you. Maybe it's about that you don't need to be on 4 social platforms. You don't need to be spending 2 hours a day on Clubhouse and doing 6 Instagram stories and this and that. What's really the priority? What's bringing in the leads? What's driving your business forward? What's growing your visibility as a designer or as a design firm? And can you quote unquote cut the fat? What happens if you shut things down? My business didn't die because I shut down the podcast. I have some of you watching live right now, and I appreciate that. I haven't been shunned off the internet because I wasn't posting Instagram stories all the time. Not that I was a big poster anyways to start with, but I really was posting 0. What happens if you stop marketing in a certain avenue? What happens if you stop taking on a certain type of project? Or if you just keep doing what you're doing a year from now, how are things gonna look? And is that what you want? That's the big question. Is that what you want? So the follow-up question to that is, where will I be in 6, 12, 36 plus months if I just change one thing? For me, that was getting help, asking for help. I was getting a lot of the production tasks off my plate because I'm pretty good at it. I'm fairly slow at it. And as one of my mentors says, if someone can do the job 70% as well as you can, it's time to hire. And you can teach skills. You can teach skills. So long as they're the right fit personality-wise, as long as they fit with the mission of your business and the clients that you seek to serve, you can teach the rest. Hey, David, thanks for watching live. We're from South Africa. Appreciate that. But yeah, you can teach skills, and in my case, it's someone on the other side of the planet. So, which I actually haven't needed to teach very much. She's doing very, very well for me. So, you can teach skills, but if you can let go of a task that can get done 70% as well, honestly, 99.9% of your clients will not notice any difference, and I don't need to be doing all the production and all the social media scheduling and all the podcast production and and still call myself the CEO of the business. There's things that we can let go. Of course, the other question you can ask is where would I be in a year if I changed everything? Maybe it's time to blow up the business. I don't know. Maybe you need to switch the projects that you're chasing altogether. Maybe you need to completely dump your marketing strategy in the garbage and start over. That could be. Yes, Keith, stop doing what ain't working, start doing what is. Absolutely. Appreciate that comment. So that's another prompt, and that's not to say go ahead and blow up your business tomorrow and the Friday with just tearing everything down. Although there's certainly some consultants that have done that. And I don't want you to get to that point where things just, your stress level is so high and you're in just this automatic routine and you don't think, you're not going to get to where you want to be, but you don't know how to change it. So you just stop everything. I think that's a dangerous game to play. But for me, turning down social media and taking a brief pause on the podcast, that helped me get the clarity that I think I needed, and helped me to ask myself the tough questions that I think a lot of us should be asking ourselves. Where will we be if nothing changes Are we going to be exactly where we are? Are we going to take a step back in our business? Will our revenue suffer? There's so many question marks, at least in the residential design field where I am, where materials they're projected to go even higher. And I've had a couple projects go on hold this year, completely on hold. And I know that lots of other designers are starting to feel the same pinch. And with inflation looming, we're in for some changes the next 5 years. So how can we take a step back, take a pause, take a breath, and see what's working, understand what could be working 12 months from now, and start to move in that direction? So thank you for tuning into the show. The quote of the week this week is from Mark Vance. Slowing down is sometimes the best way to speed up. And I know that's echoed. The last episode I was talking about Clockwork, Mike Michalowicz and Adrian Dorson's and Run Like Clockwork, and that's a pretty big tenet of theirs as well. Sometimes you have to slow down and take a look at what the heck you're doing in your business, systems-wise, processes-wise, see what's working, see what's not, and trim the fat, so to speak. So I'd love to hear from you if you're able to take a breath, take a pause in the coming days and weeks. What questions are you asking yourself? What have you learned? What are you going to change in your business or in your life? Love to hear from you on a DM, Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram at Jake Krakowski. And until next time, we're back in regularly weekly sessions. Until next time, make it a great week, because our success is inevitable. Take care. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you stay up to date with future episodes. Connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn at Jake Krakowski. And for show notes and much more, visit profitecturebydesign.com/podcast.